Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the all-new 2023 Honda Accord. And I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Westgate Honda in London, Ontario, who's run by enthusiasts, has a welcoming atmosphere, and who also offers some of the most well-thought-out and engineered vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the release of this all-new 2023 11th generation Honda Accord is following shortly after the release of the new Honda Civic last year, which has been like that since the beginning. Now, that beginning started almost 50 years ago, where the original Honda Civic in the early 1970s, a couple years later, was followed shortly thereafter by the all-new Accord. And the Accord at the time and now has always been for the growing Civic buyer that needs something a little bit more mature and a little bit more premium and even a little bit bigger. And this one is no different. It's longer, wider, even more powerful and more efficient. And not only is it more premium, but it's actually gone into the territory of being semi-luxury. So I believe that this is poised to be another top seller for Honda, and not only for Honda, but to be one of the top selling vehicles in the world. So let's take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2023 Honda Accord. Let's take a look. And this year, Honda has gone with their 1.5-liter turbocharged dual overhead cam 16-valve inline-4 engine on their base model EX here, which is capable of producing 192 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. But on the touring and the sport versions, they're offering the 2-liter, not turbocharged, but dual electric motor hybrid system engine, which is capable of producing a combined 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque, which is more than last year. And when we're talking about fuel economy numbers, which is really important on this vehicle, you're looking in the low 30s for this 1.5-liter turbo here. And if you get the hybrid versions, which a lot of people are probably going to be looking at, you're looking realistically in the mid 40s, which is really good as well. Now, this is capable of rocketing this anywhere from 3,200 pound to 3,500 pound, depending on if it's the hybrid or not. Very luxurious, semi-luxurious mid-size sedan from 0 to 60 in as little as 6.6 seconds on that hybrid, and obviously a little bit more, probably in the 7-8 second range for this one here. And all that power has to keep running through a transmission. Now, what's going to be a little bit different this year as well is they've gotten rid of that 6-speed manual transmission that everyone liked. And they've gotten rid of the 10-speed automatic and replaced it with a CVT. Now, I know. Now, apparently, this CVT has been improved, or the eCVT on the hybrid, to have new belts, things like that, to act a lot more like a conventional torque-converted transmission. We can test out how that feels later. Now, all that power runs through the front wheels. Now, I don't believe it has a limited slip differential, at least not a mechanical one that I could figure out or find. And it has to steer, of course, and it steers using rack and pinion power-assisted steering nowadays, and it steers either a 17-inch aluminum wheel or an upgraded 19-inch aluminum wheel, which is really nice on that touring, for instance. And you're going to get two different sets of tires. Obviously, in the 17s, they're going to be a little bit different, so you're looking at 225/50 17s on here, all seasons, of course. You're going to get a little bit wider of a tire on those 19s, and you've got to stop, so you're looking at 2-piston front, 1-piston rear. It has vented discs in the front, solid in the rear. And again, depending on whether it is the base or the turbo, you're going to get different sizes of discs in the front, anywhere from around 11.5 inch to a little over 12, and around 11 inch in the back. Now, when we talk about suspension, well, it uses the conventional McPherson strut up front and multi-link in the rear. And when we talk about braking as well, I forgot to mention, you're looking at around, I don't have precise numbers, but it should be around the 170-foot range, stopping from 70 miles an hour to 0. But anyway, when we come back here and we talk about platform, they actually stuck with the 10th generation platform because it worked. But what they did, like a lot of manufacturers, as they learn and grow, they've made it a lot more rigid. So they didn't need to reinvent the wheel. They just needed to make this one a little bit better. So you're looking at this mid-size platform, which is going to be around 111-inch wheelbase, which again is really big. That's pushing the territory of what a mid-size car is, and you're pushing more into the step above that. Of course, front engine on this, they never went with all-wheel drive, and you're looking at 2 passenger up front, of course, and 3 in the rear. Now, because the base model here, there's not a lot of stats on it out yet. I did get it looking around about 0.88 on the skid pad, 0.88 Gs, which isn't too bad. As I said, they've they've increased the handling. And again, with quietness, I don't have precise numbers, but most people are coming in the low 60 decibel range on the highway. Again, is an improvement over last generation, which was already good. And as well, when you're looking at the drag coefficient, I could not get those exact numbers, but you're probably going to be in the mid to high 0.20s for something like this, of course, because it is going for efficiency and it is a nice, slick looking design on it. Now, when we talk about towing, I don't believe that Honda suggests or recommends attaching any active urban lifestyles to the back of your Honda Accord. All right, let's talk cargo. So when we come back here, let's see if we can get in here conveniently. Is there any nice little sensors? I don't know, I can't see any. Do some squats, some dances. No, nothing. However, we do have keys in our pocket, and it has a fancy button on here. Voila. As you can see, there's a decent amount of space back here. You're over 16 cubic feet of space. To give you a reference point, we did a Dodge Durango, which is a mid-size, almost full-size SUV, and behind those third row of seats, you were looking at 17 cubic feet. So lots and lots of space in here. No excuse why you can't use this sedan. And it is 60-40 split, and it has these convenient little buttons or handles here to help put those seats down. And they fold right down, and with that, you've got tons and tons of space. I don't have my hockey stick with me today, but believe me, you can fit lots and lots of hockey sticks, hockey bags all at the same time back here. And because this is the base model, it actually has a full-size spare, as you can see in here. So there's this nice rubber mat, which I really like, makes things convenient, stopping from slipping around, easier to keep clean. But as you can see, there is a full-size spare. Now, if you get the Sport or the Touring, the hybrid, because both those are hybrid, you're going to lose that space back there and have more of a tire repair kit. Just so you know, there is a couple little hooks and things, as you can see, to make things convenient if you have groceries or certain things that you want to hang up in the back. But all in all, it's just an old-fashioned conventional truck. Lots of space, lots of usability, and nowadays with the 60-40 split seats, hey, you can't go wrong. So speaking of those seats, let's go sit in the back and see how they are back there. All right, hopping in the back of the all-new 2023 Honda Accord. And as you can see, there is tons and tons of space back here, and that's part of the reason why they have the Accord and why you're getting the Accord. At that 111-inch wheelbase, and as we said, it's longer, wider, and all that stuff. But one of the places you are going to sacrifice a little bit back here is for headroom. Now, I'm only 5'9", with 2 inches of spiky hair here, so let's say you're 5'9", and as you can see, I'm pretty much grazing the top here, so it's not going to be super comfortable for anyone taller than me back here. However, most people are buying this vehicle to put in car seats. And as you can see, this door opens up quite a ways, so that leads me to my first interior test. Can I fit a baby seat? Let's take a look. And all right, it's time for our first interior test. Can I fit my baby seat in my all-new Honda Accord? So here we go. As we said, these back doors open nice and wide, almost like an SUV, so no excuse. Here we go. As you can see, not the right way to hook it up, but in the interest of time, just so you can see, voila! We can take our baby with us in our new Accord. Okay, time for our second interior test. Can I hang my arm out the window and be cool in the all-new Honda Accord back here? So here we go. That's unfortunate. Cool up front, not back here. Fail. So as you could see, we could not roll that window all the way down. So although you would be cool in the all-new, beautiful Honda Accord, you're not going to be that cool sitting in the back here. One of the other things to mention is in the base here, not a lot going on, including that hybrid Sport, kind of your mid-range one. You're going to have to go up to the Touring if you want, you know, obviously nicer appointments for soft touch materials, leather, all that type of stuff. But even things like vents back here to help that come back. Because it does have heated seats in the front, and you do have dual air conditioning and heating, but there is no vents here until you get to the Touring, and that's also going to get heated outer seats as well. But most of what's happening in the Accord is in the driver's seat, because that's why you're buying this. It's a nice, quiet, luxurious ride. So let's go talk about the amenities up front. Okay, moving up front in the all-new 2023 Honda Accord. And again, we are in the base model, so it's not going to be the nicest in here as far as amenities go and materials, but that's what you're getting at the base. But even with that being so, when you look in here, the shapes are still amazing, and there's still enough soft touch in here to be warranted a premium or semi-luxury vehicle. And I really, really love the new styling up here. Normally, I don't talk about styling that much, but I really, really do like the new Civic, new Hondas in general with this new, this new long vent thing here that they have. Now, the Honda Accord, as you can see, is a little bit different. Goes from the honeycomb look from the Civic and the other vehicles in the lineup to this more premium type look here. I do like in all models they've kept hard buttons for your climate control and things like that, and they do feel pretty nice. As we said, Honda does try to give you a lot of standard features, so this is nice actually to have the base because you get to see everything that you get. Like for instance, you get heated seats in the front here, which is nice even though they're cloth, and it's a nice cloth. It looks nice, durable, and it actually is kind of grippy, which is nice. The seats are very comfortable as well. They are power on this side here. Not a ton of adjustment, only a couple lumbar, but again, it's nice to have manual on the other side. Now, when we were talking back, I'm all over the map here, but when we're talking about the heating and air conditioning, it is dual zone as well, standard feature, which is nice. And as we mentioned in the back, you do have to get up to the Touring if you want to get some airflow, increase airflow back there. And the same type of thing when you're talking about connectivity. You do have wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is really nice even in the base here. And you do have USB-C plugins here for charging up your devices or hooking them up to the infotainment, but there is no wireless charging again until you get up to that top level Touring. So essentially, basically the Touring is going to be your top model with all the extra fancy features in there. But still, as we said, when we're coming down here, you've got your traditional manual looking shifter, manual automatic shift knob. I really wish they kept that manual shifter, but we won't go there. And it does make sense. It's a premium vehicle. Not a lot of people are driving manuals anymore. And when we come down here, you do have auto start stop, as you can see, that you can turn on and off. And you do have one drive mode even in the base here, which is for your economy mode to get even better fuel economy. And this is already pretty good. And you've got your electronic parking brake. We're kind of going on the opposite. Normally we start with the steering wheel and seats, but anyway, we'll get back over to the steering wheel since we talked about the seats. Now, it is a nice looking steering wheel. I really like the new Honda design on the steering wheel. Very sporty, feels good in the hand. And again, this being the base model, you don't have a nice leather wrap steering wheel, but that's nice too, because sometimes after time, if you're keeping the car for a while, that leather can kind of fade and not look the best. And even this being plastic isn't too bad at all. You really don't notice until you feel it. It is telescopic and tilting. Ooh, manual. Does work pretty good though. And it's nice to have that adjustment. Of course, you got power windows and all that kind of stuff nowadays. And even a moonroof, which is nice on the base model. I really, really like that. It's nice just to get that extra light in here. And when you're cruising around when the weather's nice, a little extra air too, never hurts. What else to talk about in here? Hondas always have really good visibility. The Accord included, as you can see here, really good lines of sight. You got lots and lots of visibility. Skinnier pillars. This is a very safe vehicle, as we were talking about with that increased structural rigidity, but they don't blind you either, which is nice. I do like that. Also, when you're sitting here and you're cruising along, one thing that is amazing, even I know this is a premium vehicle, but even on a base model, you do have this beautiful 10-inch digital display in here. It looks really, really good. And there's different things that you can change in there. For the most part, it's pretty, static and stationary, but it is nice. It looks really good. Clear, crisp, things like that. But when we move over to our infotainment, that's going to be where you're going to suffer a little bit on this EX model. And one thing that I really don't understand why manufacturers do this, not just Honda, so I'm not picking on them, but especially in a premium semi-luxury vehicle, as they're calling this one, they leave you with the 7-inch infotainment. So, it is touchscreen, but what I mean why I don't understand it is how much more money could it possibly cost them to put the screen all the way to the edges and get rid of these buttons on the bottom. I don't know. I don't understand that decision, but nonetheless, if you want to get the 12-inch infotainment, you're going to have to get that Sport, which is your midline, or the Touring. And then when you get the Touring, it's also going to have navigation built in as well. Now, when we're also talking about that, I want to do our next front interior test, which is, can I hook my phone up to this thing at least and use the navigation through it? So let's check out the Apple wired CarPlay. Let's check it out. All right, here's our interior test. Can we hook up our phone, Apple CarPlay, to this contraption here? So here we go. We're going to plug it in, the one that looks like I can plug it in. I was the kid who could always put the round one in the square peg every time. So here we go. All right. As you can see on this little 7-inch screen, it does have your full screen, if you will, full little screen for your Apple CarPlay. But one of the nice things, if you do get that upgraded infotainment, that 12-inch one of the things that it does do is allows you to have your Apple CarPlay through the majority of the screen, and then on the side it's split, and you could have your normal conventional things like whatever you're listening to on the radio, things like that. So that's really awesome. This one, it does not look like you can do that, probably because it's a smaller screen, but here we go. All I did was plug it in. Ooh, popped right up there. So let's go to our map. And it's not being nice as I need to allow it to use location, which I thought that I did. Using the app. Yes, okay. So here we go. Voila. Even I could do that. Good job, Honda. Passed. Okay, so let's move on here. So really not a lot else to talk about except for some of the other things like, the glove compartment here. It's not as spacious as I would think for a car like this, but still enough room to stick most things that you need. As we saw, you got door pockets, cup holders, lots of places to put your little doodads, sunglasses. You've got your rear view mirrors, or it's not your rear view mirrors, your sun blockers here. I don't know why I can't remember what these are called, sunshades, but they do have the nice vanity mirrors on both sides, so you can make sure you got no spinach in your teeth when you're picking up the kids from daycare or wherever you're going. So the main thing with the Accord and a lot of these improvements is in the ride and the quality of the ride. So let's take this thing for a ride. Okay, here's where we do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test. See how quickly we can get up to that stoplight just to hammer on the brake. So here we go. There is no sport mode in this, so let's see how our 1.5 liter turbo does. All right, foot on the brake, gas, and here we go. Woo! Not too bad, actually. And here we go. We're going to hammer on those brakes. Hold on, everybody. Oh! Works pretty good. Pass. Okay, and it's now time to do our highway test. And we're also going to get a little handling action in here on our way onto the highway because it's a big corner here. So here we go. So, of course, we're going to go a little faster than you ever should just to give this thing a test. And as you can see, it holds really, really well. And again, this is just, all-season tires and an everyday sedan, but nowadays with this new rigid body style and the suspension setup, it handles really, really controlled. Not a lot of body roll, not a lot of body lean. As you can see, I'm leaning, but the actual body itself isn't. Okay, here we go. See if we got some pep to get us on the highway. I have it off of eco mode. Okay, you hear that CVT kind of pretend like it's conventional transmission. Let this guy go by. And kicks down, if you will, and then back up to a nice speed here. So let's get down to what you would probably cruise around in on the highway speed-wise, just to give you an idea of NVH, things like that. So it's actually a really windy day, and in here, probably not being picked up on the mic, but I am hearing a little wind noise, but it's very exaggerated because of the crosswind that's coming through. But all in all, you can tell this is a very quiet cabin, and they've done a lot of work to make it so. And again, as we said before, got great visibility, my mirrors, rear view mirror, things like that. We'll get out of the way here since we're in the fast lane. But yeah, works really, really good on the highway. Nice and comfortable, nice and quiet. We'll put it on eco mode here. And again, you can see everything drop right down. Yeah, Works really, really good. All in all, it seems like it's going to be pretty decent on the highway if that's where you're going to use this car. Okay, so as we're wrapping this thing up, this is a segment where we talk about price competition and more of our rants and raves. We touched on it just a second ago as we we're waiting for that traffic in our test. But, you know, really, there isn't a lot to say bad about this. Yes, the styling is not in your face, kind of like the old Civic Type R was, the 10th generation one. This is kind of the opposite of that. This is really nice and subtle, simple and clean. But they're going through, you know, but it's more of a premium luxury type vehicle and they're going for a wider market. So it makes a lot of sense and it's very attractive inside and out. As we mentioned too, I love the interior. I love the new Civics. I love this new Accord, just Honda in general and their interiors. I really like them. Yeah, it's a nice car, very quiet. It seems like it would be good on fuel. Technology all seems to work pretty good. All in all, not a lot to complain about with this, except I'm not a base model person. It's not that I'm, you know, made of money or anything else like that, but I'm always the type of person that I'd rather have the top end of the lower version than the low end of this version, if you know what I mean. So it'd be nice to see what the sport and the touring, especially the touring, is like. But this is a very, very nice vehicle, nice riding, everything else like that. So when we talk about price, it's got quite a nice range. It starts off in the high 30s, 38,000 Canadian MSRP plus fees and taxes. And you get all the way up to the high 40s, almost 47,000 again Canadian plus fees and taxes. And then one like this, or sorry, one in the middle, the Sport. This is about in the middle, around 42,000 for that. So yeah, again, it's a really nice range for pricing. But realistically, when you're looking at these three trims, the EX, the Sport, and the Touring, the EX is the base, and it's going to have that smaller 1.5 turbo, no hybrid. They're all CVT, all front-wheel drive. But if you want to get the hybrid and just a tiny bit nicer, you got to get into that Sport. So it's a bit of a jump, $4,000 or $5,000. But then if you really want the nice Accord, which most of us think of when we think of Accord with the nice leathers, perforated, ventilated seats and all that type of stuff, yeah, you got to get that Touring, and then the price gets a little bit up there. But again, the average price of a vehicle is $50,000 Canadian. This is still under that nowadays, and it's a very nice one, especially that Touring would be. When you're talking about competition, realistically, you know, there's tons. Well, you know, actually, there is still a fair amount of sedans out there, so save the sedans, that's great. But realistically, you're probably looking at the Kia K5 or the Camry, right? The good old Camry. Now, the Camry is even better seller than this, even better on fuel, even better handling. You know, it's kind of the benchmark of these two cars for this category. Now that K5 is really nice. I haven't had a chance to review it, but it looks nice. Kia's coming a long ways on their quality and everything else like that. They're all fairly roomy and whatnot. So probably couldn't go wrong with any of those choices, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other Save the Sedan reviews so we get more cool cars like this one in our upcoming review. Now, we started off this review by looking to compare the facts against the feels for the all-new 2023 Honda Accord. And here's the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought. Which is, if you were in the market for an upscale, decently sized, fuel-efficient sedan, I don't think that you can go wrong with the all-new 2023 Honda Accord, especially if you are a Honda or a Civic buyer and you're looking for something just a little bit more premium, a little bit more spacious as you and your family or your needs are growing. I think that they've done another amazing job with 2023 Honda Accord. And as we said in the monologue, I believe that it definitely will be one of the top-selling vehicles for Honda again, and especially in the world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.